In this demo, we'll review the stock management features available in OpenLMIS. From the home screen, I'll click on the stock management menu item on the navigation bar. We'll start by receiving commodities into our inventory. To do that, click Receive. From the Receive screen, click Make Receive for the COVID program in order to start the receipt. The first thing we'll need to do is select what product or commodities we're receiving. Clicking on the drop-down will provide a list of all of the available products for you to receive. So I'll select a product, in this case, surgical masks, and then I'll click Add to add that to the receipt. If there were additional products, you can continue and add more. Once you have the products added to the list for you to receive, you'll see the current stock on hand at the facility and also be able to define where the products are being received from, so who is sending them. So we'll select one of the warehouses, and then we can select the reason. So in this case, we can specify if the receipt is a donation or a normal receipt. Some reasons may include the ability to provide additional comments, but those are not required. We then will specify the quantity of the products that we're receiving. As well as the date. So if I had received these on the 16th, I can select the 16th. I'll complete those same fields for all of the products that I'm receiving. And once I've completed all of the required information, I'll click Submit. And I'll be asked to confirm that I want to receive these two products. So I'll click Confirm. And that saves the products into my inventory. And that will bring me automatically to the stock on hand screen so I can view my current stock on hand. So for the products that I just received, so for example the medical surgical masks, if I view the stock card for that particular product, I can see the receipt that I just entered on the stock card and the updated stock on hand that's in my inventory. Next, we'll go through doing an issue from the inventory. So we'll go back to the stock management menu on the navigation bar and select Issue. The process is going to be very similar to the receive process, so we'll start by clicking Make Issue for the COVID program. And again, we'll need to select what products we want to issue. So we'll choose the surgical masks again and add those to the issue. So again, I have my stock on hand, so I know what I have available to issue. And I can select where I'm issuing those things to. So I can choose the destination for the masks that I'm issuing. Again, I can select a reason. In this case, we just have the issue. There's not multiple reasons for this. But again, we do have comments. So we could specify some additional information if we wanted to. And then we will specify the quantity. So how many of these masks are we actually issuing to the other hospital? And again, finally, we'll select the date of this transaction. Once I have all of the information recorded correctly, again, I will click Submit and confirm that I want to perform the issue. Once again, I'm brought automatically to the stock on hand page. And so now I can see again, if I view the stock card for the medical surgical masks, I now see that I had my receipt from the 16th and my issue from the 17th. And you will see that the stock on hand that's in my inventory at my facility updates with each transaction that I record. The next thing we'll do is go through the process of adding any adjustments. So any other stock transactions besides the issue or receipt, we can record in the adjustment screen. So again, I went to stock management and this time selected adjustments to come to the adjustments page, where I will again click make adjustment for the COVID program. I will select the product, once again, that I want to add the adjustment for, and add that to the list. Once again, I'll be able to see my current stock on hand for the product and select the reason for the adjustment or the type of adjustment. So if, for example, some of the masks were damaged, I would be able to say that they were damaged, and I can specify for that particular reason any additional details. So if they were damaged because they were torn, I can add that additional detail. I'll then define the quantity. Let's say 10 of the masks were torn, and again, I can record the date. Once I have all of the information for all of the products that I want to make adjustments for recorded, I'll again click Submit and confirm that I want to save the adjustment transaction. And that will bring us back to the stock on hand screen, where I can see my stock on hand for all of my products and view the individual stock cards again to see the specific transactions. So now we have our receipt from the 16th, along with our issue from the 17th, and our adjustment and reason for the adjustment that the masks were torn. Finally, at the end of the period, we'll want to conduct a physical inventory to ensure that all of the stock transactions that happened over the course of the period were actually recorded in the system, and so the system is accurately reflecting what we have in our inventory. So from the stock management menu, I'll click physical inventory and click Start to start a physical inventory for the COVID program. On the physical inventory screen, we'll see the list of all of the products that I have recorded in my storeroom or at my facility at this point in time, and the stock on hand, which is the stock on hand according to the system based on the transactions that we've entered throughout the period, also have the current stock field where we can add the results of the actual physical count that we are doing. So ideally, if all of the transactions have been recorded properly and accurately for the entire period, the stock on hand should match the current stock, the result of the physical count. And if that number does match, you'll see that the unaccounted quantity is 0. Now, if there were any differences, in the number of commodities, in this case masks, actually physically at the facility in comparison to what the system has on record, you'll see what the difference is in that unaccounted quantity. So in this case, we're seeing that there's a difference of 500. So to account for that difference and make sure that the system is accurate and has all of the transactions recorded, you can click Add Reason, and that will open the Add Reason window for you to specify or add any stock movements or adjustments that perhaps weren't recorded or perhaps were entered with a typo, so the calculation was wrong. So in this example, we'll say we actually made an issue of 500 masks that was never entered into the system. So we'll choose issue for our reason and specify the quantity of 500. So you can see that the unaccounted quantity is listed at the bottom here. And then once I add this reason, the unaccounted quantity updates, and you'll see what the total of the adjustments that you're adding are. Now, if there were more than one reason, so I will remove that just to show another example. If perhaps you issued 250 of the masks, you'll see that you still have the unaccounted for quantity of 250. And then I can add another reason for the other 250. And again, when I add that, the unaccounted quantity will update, and you'll see the total quantity for all of the reasons included here. Once you've added all of the reasons or all of the transactions for these differences, click Update, and then you'll see that the unaccounted for quantity is 0, and you'll have 2 reasons, which if you hover over, you can see the specific reasons and amounts that are being included in the physical inventory. So we will go through this process for each of your products, ensuring that you have the correct amount of each commodity recorded in the system so that it accurately reflects what's on hand at your facility. And you'll be required to account for any differences in order to actually save the physical inventory and submit it. So if during this process you need to pause the physical inventory and you want to save it so that you can come back and complete it later, you can click Save. And then once you've actually completed it, you'll be able to click Submit, where it will ask you for the date of the physical inventory. So if we completed this on the 17th, we'll note that it's on the 17th, and that date is important because if you're pulling this data into the requisitions, the date of the physical inventory determines when that data will be included for which requisition period. And finally, you can add a signature for the person who is completing or signing off on the physical inventory. Once you've added that information, you can click confirm. And you will also have the option to print the physical inventory if desired. So if I click print, a new tab will open with a PDF of the physical inventory for me to print off if I desire. So I can see I have all of my products, stock on hand, current stock, and any reasons for unaccounted quantities listed on the physical inventory. I'll go back to OpenLMIS, and once again we're brought to the stock on hand screen. So any of the reasons or movements that you recorded for any differences in the physical inventory will be added to the stock card for those particular products. So for the physical inventory, we had recorded that there were masks that had some additional movements that we hadn't recorded previously. And so now if we go to the stock card, we can see that issue and negative adjustment of 250 each for those masks to account for that total difference of 500. So saving the physical inventory also updates all of the stock cards for any of those products that have transactions recorded. I do also have the option of printing this stock card. If I click print, similar to the physical inventory, I'll get a PDF version of the stock card that I would be able to print out. If I ever wanted to get to that stock on hand screen directly, or that inventory screen directly, from the stock management menu, you can click on stock on hand. And that brings you directly here. So after doing an issue or a receipt or adjustment, any of those stock movements, you automatically are shown the inventory screen in order to view any of the specific information and see the transactions that you had just recorded. But you also can come to this screen directly just to view your inventory. And again, if you have permissions to view or edit inventories for other facilities, you could also choose to do that for a supervised facility. So if I wanted to see the inventory for a supervised facility, I would select supervised facility in the specific facility and click search. And then I would be able to see their inventory and again see the specific stock cards or print out the inventory. And that concludes our stock management demo. So I will log out of the system